Why XBORG is meta now? Well, to be honest, XBORG is one of the most annoying heroes, especially in the late game. In this match, our roam is Luo Yi and Angela is the mid laner. But here's the funny part. Luo Yi didn't even buy roam shoes. That's solo rank life for you. You just have to deal with it. So basically, there's no real roam in this game, which means I'll be the one taking all the hits, diving first, and being the front liner for the team. And that's exactly why XBORG shines in the late game. He's the kind of hero who can walk into any bush, provide vision for his public teammates, and still survive through the chaos. His durability, sustained damage, and ability to zone out enemies make him a true late-game powerhouse. Now, before we dive into the build setup, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your main hero down below. Let's see how many XBORG mains we've got watching this.
Alright, let's get into it. The full, detailed talk about the best XBORG build that turns you from an ordinary fighter into an unstoppable monster on the battlefield. This setup is made for solo players who know what it feels like to get unreliable teammates, to get left behind in teamfights, and to still say, fine, I'll carry this myself. This is for the players who love that late game feeling when XBORG starts walking into fights like he owns the map. We're gonna go deep, one item at a time, and I'll explain exactly how each piece of gear changes the way XBORG feels, plays, and dominates, from early game to the very last team fight. Let's start with Tough Boots. Now, this item might look simple, but it's one of the most important things that separates good XBORG players from great ones. XBORG is a frontliner. He's always up close in the fight, which means he's gonna eat a lot of stuns, slows, and crowd control effects. That's why tenacity is such a blessing. When you have Tough Boots equipped, you can move through crowd control faster, and that's huge because XBORG's entire playstyle depends on constant movement. When you're using your first skill, you need to keep adjusting your position, following enemies, controlling your flames, and dodging skill shots at the same time. If you get locked down for even a second too long, you lose all of that momentum. Tough Boots fix that. Plus, the bonus magic defense is perfect for early game when you don't have your defensive items yet. If the enemy mid or roam decides to gank your lane, that extra resistance can be the difference between dying or walking away with just a sliver of health and a competent laugh. So Tough Boots are not just about defense, they're about freedom. They let XBORG keep doing what he does best, staying active, staying mobile, and constantly applying pressure.
Sometimes you can go for warrior boots depending on the enemy lineup. If they've got strong physical damage dealers or heroes that love basic attacking, warrior boots will give you that extra defense you need to survive longer in fights. It's all about adapting. Choose what keeps you alive so you can keep burning them down.
Next we have War Axe, and let me tell you, this item feels like it was built specifically for XBORG. His whole kit revolves around sustained damage over time, and War Axe rewards exactly that. Every time your fire hits an enemy, those stacks start to build up, giving you more attack power and movement speed. Once it's fully stacked, XBORG becomes a chase machine. You'll notice that your flamethrower starts melting enemy HP bars faster, and you can keep up with anyone who tries to run. War Axe makes your early and mid game incredibly strong because it boosts your ability to trade hits, control your lane, and threaten anyone who dares to stay too close. What's even better is how naturally it fits into his rhythm. You don't need to change the way you play, you just keep doing what XBORG does, burning enemies and keeping the pressure going. War Axe also synergizes beautifully with his ultimate. When you go into overheat mode and unleash Last Insanity, the bonus damage from War Axe is already stacked up, amplifying the explosion at the end. And since you're a solo player, this gives you that extra burst you need to finish kills without relying on your teammates to follow up. War Axe gives you power, presence, and momentum, the three things every XBORG needs to dominate the map. Now, let's move on to Brute Force Breastplate, one of the most underrated but incredibly important items for XBORG. This item is pure efficiency because it gives you both survivability and mobility at the same time. Here's how it works. Every time you use a skill or attack an enemy, you gain movement speed and stacks of physical and magic defense. Now, think about XBORG's playstyle. He's always throwing flames, always moving, always dealing damage. That means he's constantly triggering brute force. In a few seconds, you're fully stacked and much harder to kill. It's like carrying your own mini defense buff wherever you go. What makes brute force special for XBORG is how it interacts with his armor bar. When XBORG has his armor, he's already harder to take down, and with brute force, he becomes nearly unbreakable. This allows you to stay in the front line for much longer and create space for your team, even if they're not the best at positioning. Plus, that extra movement speed helps you reposition during fights. You can chase down escaping enemies or retreat safely when your armor breaks. It's the perfect balance between offense and defense, and that's exactly what a solo XBORG needs. Then comes Immortality, the item that every XBORG main knows is a game changer. Immortality is not just a defensive tool, it's a psychological weapon. When an enemy sees that little golden shield under your health bar, they hesitate. They know that if they focus you down, you'll come back, and that hesitation alone can win team fights. For XBORG, Immortality fits perfectly with his high-risk, high-reward playstyle. You're the guy diving first, walking straight into enemy lines, burning everyone and exploding with your ultimate. Immortality gives you the confidence to do that without fear. You can commit to those deep dives, knowing you'll get a second chance even if things go south. The revive also gives your team time to follow up. While you're coming back to life, your allies can deal damage or clean up. And when you stand up again, your armor bar starts recharging, meaning you can get right back into the fight. In solo rank, where teamwork isn't guaranteed, Immortality is your safety net. It lets you make those clutch plays that turn a losing game into a win, and it allows you to take risks that other players simply can't afford. Now, let's talk about Ice Queen Wand, which is the spicy twist in this build. Most people wouldn't expect to see a magic item on XBORG, but here's where creativity and game sense come in. The Ice Queen Wand adds a slowing effect to all your skills that deal magic damage, and XBORG's first skill, his flamethrower, counts as continuous magic-based true damage after his rework. That means every tick of your fire slows your target, making it nearly impossible for them to run away. You become this walking nightmare that locks enemies in place with your flames. And it's not just about control. The item also gives you magic power and movement speed, which helps in both offense and kiting. When you combine Ice Queen Wand with War Axe and Brute Force, you get the perfect trio. War Axe boosts your attack, Brute Force boosts your defense, and Ice Queen Wand gives you control. That's why this item is so effective for solo players. You don't need your teammates to set up kills for you. You can slow, chase, and finish enemies all by yourself. It also makes your poke damage much scarier. Even before using your ultimate, you can zone enemies away from objectives like Lord or Turtle, forcing them to either fight you or back off. The moment they hesitate, you've already created space for your team. And finally, Athena's Shield, one of the best defensive items in the game, especially for frontliners like XBORG. This item gives you a massive shield that activates when you take magic damage, and that shield makes all the difference in team fights. Mages these days deal crazy amounts of burst damage, and as a solo player, you can't always trust your team to protect you or peel for you. With Athena Shield, you can confidently walk into a fight, absorb that initial burst, and still have enough health left to keep burning through enemies. It also pairs perfectly with Brute Force and Immortality. Brute Force gives you resistance over time, Athena's blocks the first big hit, and Immortality brings you back if things get messy. This trio makes you an absolute nightmare to kill. Once you get this item, you can start initiating fights without hesitation. Your role as XBORG is to create chaos, to dive in, absorb cooldowns, and explode in the enemy's face. Athena's Shield gives you that freedom because it ensures that no matter how strong their mages are, you'll survive long enough to do your job. So when you look at the entire build together, Tough Boots, War Axe, Brute Force Breastplate, Immortality, Ice Queen Wand, and Athena's Shield, you see a full circle setup. Every item complements the next. You start with survivability and crowd control resistance, you build momentum and power, you add layers of defense and utility, and you end with the ability to outlast anyone on the field. This build isn't just about raw stats, it's about flow. Each item enhances XBORG's natural rhythm: sustain damage, maintain pressure, and punish overcommitment. When you play with this build, you'll notice how smooth XBORG feels. You're never too squishy, never too slow, and never out of options. It gives you the confidence to lead every fight, to tank, to chase, and to finish. For solo players, that's everything you need. You don't rely on anyone else to peel, to initiate, or to finish fights. With this build, you are the frontliner, the playmaker, and sometimes even the finisher.
You can defend, engage, and carry. You can hold your lane alone, take objectives, and still be the deciding factor in late-game teamfights. Every part of this setup has a purpose, and once you master how it all comes together, you'll see why XBORG is not just a hero. He's a complete game plan.
So if you are tired of depending on teammates, if you want to climb the ranks and dominate with pure skill, patience, and strategy, this is the build for you. It's not just powerful, it's consistent. It rewards good timing, map awareness, and confidence. And that's exactly what XBORG represents. Strength, persistence, and the will to keep fighting even when everything's on fire. So go ahead and give XBORG a try. You're going to have an absolute blast playing him. Once you've played a few matches, come back and tell me in the comments how it went. Did you dominate the battlefield and melt your enemies like they were nothing? Did you pull off those insane team fights, diving straight into the chaos and walking out alive like a boss? Or maybe you had one of those clutch moments where your ultimate turned the whole game around. I want to hear all about it. And most importantly, what build did you use? Everyone has their own twist when it comes to XBORG, so drop your version of the ultimate setup down below. Share your strategy, your playstyle, and your favorite combos. Maybe your build will be the one that helps another player climb the ranks. I love seeing how creative you all get with your item choices and gameplay, so don't be shy. Let's make the comment section a place where all the XBORG mains share their best tips, builds, and crazy moments.
So if you made it all the way till here, you're not just watching, you're part of the family, a true supporter of the channel. Drop the word Borg down in the comments so I know you're one of the real ones who actually stayed until the end. Your support means the world to me because every single like, comment, and subscription keeps this channel growing and gives me the motivation to keep creating more epic guides, crazy comebacks, and fun gameplay moments for you. And hey, maybe your favorite hero will be the next one I feature. So make sure to comment which hero you want to see next. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Thank you so much for watching. Stay strong, stay focused, and as always, keep grinding, keep winning, and keep setting the battlefield on fire. See you in the next one.